Live from the apocalypse. Did Josephine Baker catch bodies? We're going to figure it out. This is State of the Game. I am the happy father of a 10-year-old. It's my son's birthday today. So shout out to him.
Happy birthday. Happy birthday.
He got to pick out his cake. He's living the life.
Yes,
so all love there. My co-host, who was a giant Ricky Lake fan back in the day. And, you know, he graduated to the status of co-host here. But all kidding aside, I think about this shit sometimes because I've interviewed so many incredible people, right? And I never wanted to interview anybody. And it was Kay in the lunchroom who said, the next step for you is interviewing. You got to interview people.
Oh, damn.
My first reaction was, I don't want to bother anybody. And we're here. So shout out to my co-host every week, Kay Diggy. Thank you, sir.
So y'all went to high school together then?
No, work together.
No, yeah, we work together.
Oh, y'all work together. Okay. I got it confused. I apologize. Yeah, that's still some chemistry though.
Yep. Yeah. We did breaks, went on breaks and talked hip hop.
Right. Yeah. What was it that made him say? What was it that made him say you need to be a host though? What was it about you?
He's just the point was basically you're weird as fuck and like
because he's insightful. Like he asked, like the things he was writing were really insightful. So I think it's just the next progression is using that insightfulness and talking to other people regarding their work. Right. So it's more like a conversation as opposed to like you're commentating or critiquing.
Right. Word. That's what's up. That's a shout out to you for even seeing that in him. You know what I'm saying? And encouraging that. That's what's up, right? Yeah.
Always pay that debt. So I appreciate that. And we've got a real Chicago spitter here today who just released an album called The Policy Kings. And the most shocking thing about The Policy Kings was that Spanish Ram produced it. Because as you know, Kay, we interviewed Spanish Ram. Spanish Ram doesn't fuck with anybody.
Yeah.
He's got Blue. He's got Aldo. He doesn't give a fuck. He's a self-contained organism. So if you have a full album with Spanish Ram, you're doing something.
Yeah.
You're doing something. So shout out to Water, Chicago. Thank you for being.
Yeah, hey, real quick, since you brought up Rand, shout out to Rand. Like I said, I was just, before the interview started, I was letting you know I was just out there in New York. And I had hit up the platform, the Chinatown Sound. Shout out to Bub Style. Shout out to G. You know what I'm saying? They just got that Rock Nation deal and for their platform. Shout out. And then I got up with the Rappers Out of Control. Shout out, peace to DJ Clips, DJ Riz for having us on. And before we got out there, or went up there, I got out there to the Bronx and I chopped it up with Rand. We went up there on the train together. Rand, good people, man, just real genuine. And like you said, matter of fact, Tree Mason was up in that too. Tree Mason a part of that unit.
Tree Mason's awesome.
And he was up in there. So it's like you said, he got his own that church unit with Tree, Blue. Every now and then you'll hear Passport Rav on some shit. I tapped in with Passport as well. And so, yeah, man, it's like, to be honest with you, why you even brought that up, it's like, I can't recall how I even really got in tune with Spanish Ram to where we actually got on the level where we started communicating with each other, possibly through DM. Maybe I just went on ahead and reached out to him like, yo, like, that's working. And I'm sure he heard, it was something about what I was doing to what you said to where he heard, he was willing to do it. And it took about a year to build it. It took about a year to build it. And when we did it, it came out beautifully. And I'm honored to be a part of, and to be associated, and to keep building a relationship and a friendship with Spanish Ram. Something while we was out there and building, he mentioned like, I don't just do one-offs. I don't just do one-offs. So you will be hearing some more work from us in the future. Trust me.
This
Oh
worked
yeah,
out.
so shout out to that's
Yeah, no, I mean Spanish Ran and Blue like grew up so deep in the Bronx that they would look out their window and watch Fat Joe pick up, Big Pun to go to a baseball game.
yeah,
Like
yeah,
that's
yeah,
BX type shit.
yeah. Historic. Absolutely.
And anyone who
It
hasn't,
just
oh, go ahead, sorry.
no, I don't mean to cut you. Go ahead.
Anyone who hasn't seen the episode where we interviewed Blue and Spanish Ran should do it. There's this moment where I give them my theory on Spanish Ran's music, right? That my theory was that Spanish Ran makes modal jazz like hip hop.
Yo,
And
that's a great observation because I'm a jazz fan, number one, and like so much so to the fact I got my 5-year-old daughter. She could identify instrumentation through sounds. You understand? Like we driving in the car. What do you hear? What you hear, baby? What you hear, pretty? And she naming them off. So and I would agree with that. He got it's still hip hop, but yeah, he got it's soulful and it's the jazz. I would agree with that. That's a great observation.
because you hear some beats, right? Some hip hop beats are slow, but they're slow because they're trying to be menacing or whatever, or they're just plotting. But if
Right.
you listen to one spin of the wheel, like you can hear that fucking piano. You can feel it. And that's the modal jazz. Like he slowed it down so you can feel the notes.
Yeah.
That's how it feels to me as a listener.
Yeah. I think that's a great observation. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, absolutely. And it's funny you even mentioned one spin of the wheel. Yeah. That the whole album and that project, that one spin of the wheel is it's double entendre, of course. You a music head, it's like, I'm referencing and talking about the policy era. And for those that don't know about policy, if you heard of ones that run numbers, a lot of people are more familiar with the name Bumpy Johnson. And all due respect, you know what I'm saying? He was a soldier and a leader, I would say. And but policy started in Chicago. We talking like 1895, 1890, where you got ones like Policy Sam Young that came up from, and he learned a lot from the river boats on the Mississippi River, because he's from the South. He learned a lot. And bringing some of that wisdom and that knowledge that he learned on the river boats, coming to Chicago and then bringing the game here. Because ones, of course, you already had ones, the gambling houses, but you talking about Big Joe Calissimo, and who was under him was Joe Torrio, and who was under Joe Torrio, that most people know is Al Capone.
Right.
And so, I think I'm saying the name correct. Joe, is it Joe or John Torrio? I believe that's Joe.
It's Joe. It's Joe. Yep.
Yeah, Joe Torrio. And so, and so while the Prohibition era was going on, just to kind of give a little history of the Policy Kings, if you will, while the Prohibition era was going on, where, for those that don't know about that era, when liquor was illegal, mostly during the Roaring 20s, and that benefited. But I'm kind of skipping ahead, to be honest with you, because policy was still going on, like I said, in the 1800s. In 1905, in 1905 is actually when it became illegal. And the little story behind that, anytime, if I'm running off, let me know. You know what I'm saying? You just cut me off. But 1905, it became illegal due to you had church members and pastors that wanted to they started to see the how proficient and how evolving the game of policy was in Chicago on the South Side.
Right.
And then in this time, Chicago was really like downtown. The downtown that as Chicago, that was really where Chicago was. That's exactly where a lot of gambling houses were, brothels, or bordellos, whatever you want to use, and then more so on the low end. We call it the low end in Chicago, where you have like the low numbers. When you have the low numbers like the 40s, the 30s, the 50s, those streets, all the way up, I would say up until about 55th. About 55th Street, we would consider 55th on down would be considered the low end. And so in that area, you know, you had a lot of gambling houses and prostitution going on. And when they, and so I know I'm rambling, but so 1905, right? 1905, you had the church members that wanted to ban policy, and it was a lot more protesting going on. And because they saw how the neighborhood, a lot of people was gambling. And with that, a bombing of something occurred at a church. Somebody bombed the church, and with that bombing came the follow up to that, or the results of that, was the outlaw, or the ending of policy being legal. Now it was deemed illegal. So but it still continued. It still continued, even though, because you had mayors like Big Bill Thompson, who would be known as one of the most crookedest mayors in Chicago history. A lot of people would talk about Richard Daley, or Richard Daley's father, running it in the 60s. But before him, Big Bill Thompson, he was allowing policy to go on. He was allowing, like Al Capone really had him by the hip. You know what I'm saying? He was allowing a lot of this stuff to go on. And so, like while you had a lot of Italians and Irish people, or the gangsters, while they was doing into the bootlegging with liquor, our thing was running numbers or policy, the policy racket, the number barons. And so, I just wanted to give a little history with that.
Yeah.
And then real quick, to follow up, because I know, then I started talking about the 20s. I kind of summed it up. When I got into
to jump in. I would say from 1905 to the run up to Prohibition, and I think there was a movement, and in the general view of it was that crime was like weeds, kind of going into your garden, and the way you pull the weeds up is to make it illegal, right? You make liquor illegal, you make policy illegal. You pull up the weeds and the garden's clean. And Prohibition kind of taught everyone that's not how it works. You've created a second economy underneath the economy. And I don't think most voters knew that.
Right. Especially when it's tax free, and I can't remember. I can't recall historically when the taxes started. Taxes was going on right since the beginning. No representation, taxation, no representation, and so that, like you said, you open up the underworld. The underworld has breath now, and you create kingpins who have power, who then start to corrupt the government, because now these kingpins are paying off judges, congressmen, and this is what was going on in policy. I'm sure it was also going on in Prohibition as well, where you got judges and police under your belt that's on the payroll, and so just to keep the business running. And so now government is corrupt due to this underworld, due to what, like as you said, when you created that lane, when you wanted to make something illegal. So no, I definitely don't think they was prepared. I don't know, because the government, they I'm sure you heard it, they like to plan 10, 20 years ahead of time. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know, and I'm one of the ones that like to believe that a lot of times they say the people that came before us, especially when you go real far ahead, they like to call them primitive. And I just disagree, because ones was doing some, whether you talking about the pyramids, if you want to go that far back or not, it's like, nah, we had a lot of geniuses that came before us. You know what I'm saying? You could argue that we didn't get dumbed down over time, like especially with ones that use only 10% of the brain. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, Malcolm X was running numbers. You know what I mean? And
exactly.
If you read Autobiography of Malcolm X, he talks about how brilliant the number runners were. That's not
exactly.
Yeah.
And ones to go to your point, ones wasn't even, a lot of people wasn't writing it down, just having a number. So, but then with policy, one of the things about policy, it opened up to a lot of illegalities as well, because you had ones who were cheating out their customers as well, wasn't paying them if the customers would win, and then you had ones who would stay true to that. you know, and ones like the Jones brothers, the Kelly brothers. If you look at those guys in history, of Chicago history, it's more I would say the Kelly brothers, they had their time, and the Jones brothers had their time. And Ed Jones was the king of policy kings. You know what I'm saying? And this is nationwide, and so it's so much history, man. It's just like, and I wanted to bring that in the album, and so I kind of could bring it back around right now before you get to your next question. And in all of that, when you brought up One Spin of the Wheel, it's like I wanted to touch on that history, and at the same time talk about real life today, because it's the same thing. One spin of the wheel, then your life rearranging, and it's like whether that's you out here just having fun or making ill decisions, or you planning and strategizing on your next move. You know what I mean? And all it does, it can just take those moments. You know, so just be conscious of those moments in your life, but and the things that you do. And you know, as you get older, you're more conscious of these things. But I try to touch down to the youth as well. I got younger brothers, younger sisters, got a daughter. So, you know, it's just like, you know, when you came up, you had somebody that'll try to give you some game. I try to put a little game in there in the music. I mean, I don't try to do the send-off music. That's not my aim.
No, it's really cool. And like I said, when I hit Chicago, so we're in the hotel. Me and my son are in, like, you know, the pool, and he says, "Daddy, tell me everything you know about Chicago," because obviously just looking at the architecture was incredible, right?
Absolutely.
So he's like, "Tell me everything you know about Chicago." So I'm just like, you know, Black Sox scandal, you know, Second City improv comedy, you know, like Fred Hampton, you know, I'm going, and then at one point I'd look at him and I say, there's two places in America that are famous for the most corrupt local government.
Oh yeah.
And it's Chicago and New Orleans. And
you said who? New York?
I said New Orleans. I said New Orleans.
Oh, New Orleans. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Now I'm not too tapped there with New Orleans government history like that, but I wouldn't doubt it. Absolutely. And especially, you know, but absolutely Chicago. And whether you go back in time to the era we just talked about and big, especially when you had Al Capone, it was a time where I want to say in like 1928, I want to say 28. It was called Pineapple, the Pineapple campaign. Yep. And they called it the Pineapple campaign because Capone was bombing out government officials and telling them they need to, like, this is around the time Big Bill Thompson, the mayor, he had to leave town. He was sending judges out of town telling them, y'all better get out of here. And it was about 20 bombings or something that year, and pineapple bombings. So they called it the Pineapple campaign. And so whether you go back to that time or whether you talk about our last government, our last governors that we had before Pritzker, you know, with George Ryan and Boyovich. I mean, Jesse Jackson's son got caught up in some, you know. So yeah, you absolutely right, man. And even what happened with Harold Washington, it's speculative that something happened with him as well, with Harold Washington. So absolutely.
Yeah, it's important for him to know that.
No, absolutely.
Most people I think the way we're conditioned now is to kind of dismiss everything that just happened and only look at what is happening in the future, right? We don't have the attention span or whatever. I don't think America ever loved history, I'll be honest, because I think the history can get ugly if you look too close at it. But so I think a lot of people, you know, face forward on that. But I think what your album, what Policy Kings does, is it kind of shows you time as a chain where, like, the future and the past are all bumping into each other with the present. So some verses are clearly now, some verses are, you know, the past.
Yeah.
Some of them you're seeing like, oh, $1 billion dreams, like that.
Yeah.
Be $1 million dreams, but it's the same dream, you know?
Absolutely. The $1 Billion Mindset with AM. Yeah, shout out to AM, and NFO for shooting that video as well. Yeah, it's like even with that, it's like like you said, it's funny you said million after you said billion. It's like like back in the day, like I'm talking like I'm not too far back in the day, but like when I was coming up, being a million, you hear about millions, that was the thing,
right?
And now it's like it's a lot more billionaires coming about. You know what I'm saying? Being birthed, and so it's like that's the thing to do. It's like I mean, of course you got to become a billionaire, you got to have some millions first. And it's like it's nothing wrong with having that $1 billion mind state and and putting yourself there and if you could see it, you could achieve it and calling that out. You know what I mean? So yeah, absolutely. And wanting wealth. Speaking more on wealth and changing the topics that a lot of times it'd be a lot of redundant topics that go on in music. You know what I mean?
Right.
And it could kind of in a way trap the mind of the listener. And it could also trap the mind of artists too. Because a lot of artists today, it's a lot more copying. It's not a lot more artistry or creativity or a new sound. It's a lot more if you sound like this, just to get the quick, fast buck. And yeah, so that's hopefully I don't see myself doing that when I create, and hopefully people don't get that from me. Of course, everybody draws from somebody. So if you hear me, you may be reminded of somebody that you favor, hopefully. And I understand that because of course I came up listening to the greats, and I'm sure I drew from them. And at the same time, as I came into my own, I wanted to, be myself now. And so hopefully that's what people get when they hear me. But it's just about changing the narrative in music. It's from that's why I had the project last year with Vanderslice, Life is More Than White Bricks.
Yep.
And shout out to Vanderslice. It's like, because you hear a lot of music like this, like we just on this coke rap. And trust me, it's no disrespect to those artists because I had my time in the street. You understand? Right. So I get it. So I know. But at the same time, it's just like, pardon that noise right there. Hopefully they got it situated. But it's like when you know. You know what I mean? Right. And so you can't. It's the response, and that's why a lot of times a lot of people don't want to know certain information because once you know, now you're responsible to move a certain way, to move different.
Right.
And so and hopefully that's what I want to bring to people. I want to bring and create different narratives, different topics for the listener, and challenge other artists to do the same. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean you make hard-nosed hip-hop, right? Hardcore hip-hop, but it's responsibly hardcore, right? Like you're not mowing people.
Oh yeah.
Like that's
right. No, yeah, no, you're right. Like I still keep it, I'm still drawing. Pardon, I'm just grabbing stuff. I'm still and this hip hop, it's a sport. Like I told you earlier, I used to play football, so I'm a competitor for sure. We keep it there on that end. And so, it's always at the same time, as far as the mic go, yeah, I'm trying to bite. I'm trying to, because now I done been out to New York. I don't really play the Paul's game, but it's like once I was out there, what I'm saying, I'm kicking it with Wavy and Rem and a few others, man. They like, yeah, pause, right? So it's like now you just gotta, what I mean, I'm a little bit more cautious of what I'm saying now. But anyway, when I'm on the mic, man, I'm still trying to do damage. Absolutely. Right. I want it to be known that, yeah, I'm not to be played with. You know what I'm saying? I came up listening to Biggie and right. So and I can name others, but Biggie to me, when I say him specifically, because he would have that bully rap. You know what I'm saying? He'd get on some bully shit, man, and talk that shit. So I like that. Yeah, or Jada. I come from that angle, but at the same time, like Pac, like Nas, I'm trying to educate you a little bit too. I want to give you something that or like Wu-Tang, like something that you can stand on. You know what I'm saying? And take with you instead of just like I'm trying to send you off, like I'm telling you to sell dope off the iPhone or some shit. You know what I mean?
Right. No, it's so that's been a big thing. Kay, what were your reactions to the Policy Kings, but also the progression from Life is More Than White Bricks to Compendium of Arcanum to Policy Kings?
I mean, listening to all three projects, I love the progression. I did think the Policy Kings, I thought that was the most striking project to me in terms of, because I thought it was a great balance of energy. Like I felt like your energy is very driving. Your rap energy is very driving. So it's like pushing forward. And it's funny that you mentioned Spanish rap. You mentioned the module jazz.
Yep.
Because I thought the piano, because in terms of policy, the pianos were it was like a counterbalance to your flow.
Yep.
That was like really like striking to me.
Mm-hmm.
Comparatively, when I listened to your other two projects, I just saw it was almost like it was like the pianos almost felt like a whole nother like artist, like you were collaborating with. I know that may not make sense, but
no, I think it does.
Like they felt so prominent to me. Like it was just really striking to me.
Yeah.
And I just thought like it's like the chemistry that it brought out like a whole nother side of your rap.
Yeah.
I would agree with that. I would agree that, you know what I would say, like in regards to that specific progression. So with Life is More Than White Bricks, it was some post production with that. It was some post production done with that. Not too much, but it was some post production done. Absolutely. But with Spanish Rant and in with Compendium of Arcanum, it was some post production done. The thing that I would say the difference with Rand as far as the post production with him, it was times when he was actually changing the beat. Instead of just adding elements to the beat, he would actually, and it was like maybe 3 or 4 songs on the album where he actually just changed the whole beat. But it worked, it fit. And that was crazy in itself. So I send him a record, then he sends it back over a different beat. Now it sounds like a new record, and it's like, wow, it's amazing. So that speaks to his, like, yeah, Rand his ear is crazy. His ear is crazy. For him to even be able to do that, to go to couple with what you're saying with the modal jazz, you know, and so yeah, I would, as far as that chemistry, I would almost say it was a not a challenge in a hard way, but it was more challenging in that in my mind, it was more doors in my mind that I wanted to open up, and doorways that I wanted to walk through mentally over the beat, to where that's what I would say, if you could follow me on that end. You know, just in regards to how I wanted to paint over that canvas. You know, yeah, Rand got a crazy ear. Now, and it's no disrespect to because we talking about some Vanderfice is a monster. We talking about Compendium of Arcanum. We talking about Pharma Beats. We talking about Bohemia Lynch.
Flu.
You know, we talking about Flu.
Yep.
We talking about Flu. I got a project with Flu. You know, we talking about Timepiece, Machacha. I got one with Machacha coming in November. Y'all be on the lookout for that. You know, with Copenhagen as well. So we talking about at Mighty Healthy from Miami.
Mighty Healthy, Michelin.
We talking about Michelin style. I don't want to miss nobody. It's like SB11. Let me do it the right way. Timepiece. And I think I named everybody. Hobgoblin. You know what I mean? So it was, we talking about monsters, and so Spanish Ram he was just another monster that I had the privilege to do some work with. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so yeah,
Yeah, I think, and my progression, like, okay, I'm really glad to hear you break that down because it's similar to how I felt when I first heard. So, life is more than white bricks. Is the people were like, you need to hear this. I was like, okay, and I was like, okay, this guy's on the board. Like, this is someone with ideas. This is someone who really can rap. Like, I put the name on the board. You release something, I'm checking it out. Everybody's got that album that puts you on the board. And then Compendium of Arcanum came out, and I'm a big Lupara person, right? Like I love Timepiece is my guy. I love Timepiece. Mighty
Right off
Healthy.
the time, all of them. Yes,
Mighty
sir.
Healthy's been on the pod every year for the last, like, he's so we like, and Flu, I've interviewed Flu. I love all those guys. So and I was like, ooh, so that first one puts you on the board. Compendium of Arcanum, I had two takeaways, right? The first one was this guy's got an ear for beats. These are good beats, right? He got a gang of underrated producers, right? Who are excellent, put them all in one place, and he got the best of them. That's great. Number two, I was like, water knows hooks. Like the hooks on Compendium of Arcanum to me are impressive. They like, not everyone pays enough attention to hooks. And I was like, this is a thorough individual, like, who has all that skill set. So, but yes, Policy Kings is special because you can work with geniuses all you want, but when you get a relationship where two really high level people are in conversation with each other and are affecting each other throughout the process, that's when you get special pieces of work, right? The living documents. Yeah.
Absolutely. And what's so crazy is me and Ren, we would FaceTime each other, and at times, or we would just be on the phone crazy. And to the point where, and we both said this, it was almost like I was in the lab with him. And I'm in Chicago, he in the Bronx. And like you said, he don't really work like that.
Yeah.
Like he tell people to pull up on him,
Right.
Like I was talking to Rem and them. He was like, yeah, I need to get out. I'm like, yeah, go, But that's another thing. But it's like, so the way the chemistry, as you speak on the chemistry, absolutely. We in two different cities, miles apart, but it's like we in a lab together, and we were having conversations. Like before songs would get done, we would have conversations on the angles of where we wanted to go, and then there was times where he would just send the music, and that's and then I'll take it from there. You know what I mean? So absolutely, man, absolutely. Real quick, like how you brought up the Josephine, like all of them joints, like man, they all. I could tap into each one, but like that Josephine one is special because, as I talked about Ed Jones earlier, the king of Policy King, his wife, her name escapes me right now, but that's where Josephine Baker comes into play. Ed Jones' wife, she used to be a dancer, just like Josephine Baker, and she was over there in Paris too, like Josephine Baker. They was doing whether they was doing a vaudeville situation where the entertainment, they were dancing girls in New York as well. But she ended up meeting Ed Jones, and then Josephine took off in Paris, and so but they were still best friends. And so when she would come to Chicago, they would kick it. They would take train rides to. They would do shit. The Policy Kings would do shit like they'll rent a whole train and go to New York and have a party. They'll rent the whole train, and in different cars there's different gambling situations going on. You might have the bed situated. But the whole train, they traveling to New York, it's a party. Or they might go to California, it's a party. They was doing shit like that. And Josephine Baker was a part of this situation. And so that's where she comes into play. And then when you look at the history of Josephine Baker, so I just talked about her ties to Chicago, but what she did with the French Revolution and how she was a vedette, you know, and she, you know, and this is real stuff. It's like you will hear about it, and you could, and you know, even like in the streets, you got girls that set up guys. You know what I'm saying? Like they there with pretty faces, and the whole time they there to set you up with their people to get robbed or whatnot. And so you got to be careful. You know, Mobb Deep got a story about that. You know what I'm saying? Famous story. So, but then these stories are true, and it's like she was one of those that kind of like it's like a movie. I'm surprised. Well, it is a movie they did about it, but anyway, just to highlight that, where how she was out there actually doing work for the French Revolution,
right,
against the Nazis or whatnot, and she was out there as an entertainer, but she, you know, on call, she on duty. Yep. You know what I mean? And so, and in that song, I took my creativity and created a story, you know, how I saw it. You know what I mean? What I could see her abilities being, and like I said, who knows what, you know, she was a French, she was in the French army. So who knows what type of training she really had, what she could really do. I'm sure they had to teach her something just in case, you know, anything went down. Sure. And she, you know, so, you know, I figured I'd go there. I took it there, you know, I took it down that song. So yeah, I like that song. And that's one of them songs where I had a different beat originally. I sent it over to Spanish Ran. He put it on a beat that you hear today. And I'm like, wow, this is amazing. So, and he just put my lyrics on that, and it was cool at first. But I told him, "No, send me the beat," and then I had to, you know, just record it and re-record it and put the lay it down the right way, and then we did that. So, yeah, man, that was crazy. That's one of the I think that Josephine record, that's one of the highlights of the album. Sure.
I agree. Yeah, it's a real unique moment because there's definitely albums where you are like vibing out, you know what I mean? And you're barring out with other people and it's not like, this isn't a heavy concept record.
Right.
You can just listen to it and enjoy it. You don't have to know the story, but the Josephine Baker song stops you and like, wow, puts you there and solidifies it. So that's a really important part. Yeah.
I appreciate that, man. Yeah. Like you said, it's kind of like, it's a staple. It's a pillar of the album to kind of remind you. Like you said, even though we have those elements to make it it's a concept album, but like you said, I tried to make it so that it's at any point you come into the album, you can still just feel it. It's just still good music. You know what I mean? Like you said. So as in like you just watching the movie and you come halfway in the movie and it's like you don't understand what's going on. So to your point. But yeah, but that Josephine record, it reminds you like, this is the Policy King album. That's one of them. So yeah, talking about that era right there. Absolutely.
Yep. Okay, I'll tell you my favorite. I can say the favorite run. I can do my favorite run, but I can give you my favorite songs. Wait, do you have a favorite run of songs on this?
Let me get it out. I thought I really liked 4 through 6. I liked Serpentine Apples, Mayor of Bronzeville, and then Family Business.
You are very close. You're very close with me. So mine is 4 through 7, and 7 is my favorite song.
Oh,
7-Day Cycle. 7-Day Cycle. It's just hard. It's wonderful.
I think 7-Day Cycle my favorite too. To be honest with you, because it's like, and I always be having these conversations with people, just, you know, on the Saturday morning cartoons coming up as a shorty. Like, it's different now. They can watch cartoons all they want to. I was just, you know, it's like, man, we could, like in the morning before school, you would see cartoons, but it was short. But when on Saturday morning, you got it for hours, but I was able to tap in on that song. It was like the beat was crazy. first off, I hit a beat. I mean, you hit a beat, and it's like, whoa, what's going on right now? It's like it's almost like you're going through a portal. You know what I'm saying? It's like it's wow. You know, and then but yeah, it's like, yeah, let me tap in. We're gonna talk about some 7-day cycle shit. You know what I mean? And then within the lyrics, you can tell I'm still tapping in. I'm talking about some policy king shit. You know, in regards to judges in pocket. You know what I mean? Few judges in pocket. You know, I talked about that a little earlier in the conversation. But and at the same time, it's still relevant today. You know what I mean? And that's why I wanted to, you know, just to connect with people. You know what I mean? Because I figured everybody might not know that story about the policy king. So it's like, how can I tell this story and still keep it cool, still keep it relevant, you know, still keep it of today, you know? So I gave my best attempt at that. But that's one of my favorites. That family business, I like that family business as well.
Yep.
You know, number 4. What was number 4? What's track 4?
Oh, that's Vic, right? With Mayor of Bronzeville?
5. That's 5.
That's
Five.
5.
Daniel's son.
Oh yeah,
Daniel's son.
Serpents and Apples. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. So that run right there. Yeah. Serpents and Apples. And you know what's crazy, man? I'm gonna tell y'all. Like, I thought Rand know this too. And that's one of them songs right there. It's like on a couple songs, it's like just because of the me being here and him being there, and Spanish Rand is a monster. Like, Spanish Rand mixed and mastered all of that. It's a couple of them I wish I was in the studio with him and we tried to do it on most of them it worked, but it's like I wasn't in the right pocket that I wanted to be in, if you understand what I'm saying. And I wanted him to kind of like move it a little bit. I'm one of them type of artists too. Like, I'm real, you know, like I'm real picky, man. I want my stuff to be in the pocket perfect as possible. And the listener might not be able to tell, but I can, you know, and it can hurt so much that I might not even want to hear a record just because of I could tell that it's not in the pocket right, you know. So I'm a stickler for that, just, you know, having my verses and hitting them pockets, you know. So, and it's a couple songs on there where I feel like we could have got that in the pocket a little bit better. But we got it as close as possible, and it worked, you know. And Rand, and like I said, Rand got a crazy ear. And Rand, he was like, it's cool for me. So I'm like, yeah, it's cool, we good, let's rock. You know what I'm saying? Because I wasn't there, you know what I'm saying? So it was all good. But that's another little background in the making of that, in the process of that.
Yeah, that's something we talk about, where like you can, like, the way you understand your art and the way the audience understands it are totally different. And so we talked about that with, like, last week with maximalism versus minimalism, right? Like, you can be adding a flute sound that no one gives a shit for 2 weeks. You know what I mean? And it's just like, you know, so you have to kind of know when you're done, right? That's
absolutely.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I think it's great. It's because this lets you know how much that past is a part of today and will continue to be a part of tomorrow, and how it all links. The guests are wild on this.
Shout out to Daniel's son. Shout out to Vic Spencer. Me and Vic, we did some work in 2016 too, called Power. We did a video for it. It was kind of, and in the video we was like on the series with 50, the Power series. It was like, this was a little earlier when it first came out, and it was like, we was kind of doing a likeness to that in the video, and but it was shout out to AM Early Morning, shout out to Mav, MAV. That's the second time I worked with Mav. You know what I mean? Mav is on the Vanna Slice record.
Yep.
With Life is More Than White Bricks. So
yeah,
man. A lot of good people, you know. And then on a Compendium of Arcanum, we I'm trying to think on that. I be running off so many records, bro. You feel me? What? Let me think. On the Compendium of Arcanum, did I have any features on there?
I got it up now. was so was it? Oh, Def C was on there.
Oh yeah, Def C. Oh yeah. I had two people on that, I believe.
Bohemian
Yeah,
Lynch.
Def C. Shout out and Rufus Sims.
Yep.
Yep. And yeah, shout out Def C. Yeah, for sure. That was a big record. That that was over Bohemian Lynch joint. We did a video for that, and then yeah, and I feel like if you don't mind, I feel like I want to also shout out Dirty Diggs. You know what I mean? Because I know for I might be coming on the radar for a lot of people, and that's beautiful. And I got a hell of a catalog for you too.
Right. Right.
And background. And it's like, but I would say 2018, me working with Dirty Diggs kind of helped put me on the map too. That Wizard of the Crystal record. That was an EP I did. I had Recognize Ali, Top Ferris, Noah the Flood, Supreme Cerebral, all on that record. And it was a beautiful record for me. But I feel like that kind of took me from being local, just ones knowing me in Chicago, to now ones know me nationally and internationally, because Dirty Diggs international. And then I also want to shout out Ty Ferris, man. Ty doing his thing. He doing big things, but we did that Bulls vs Pistons record. If you haven't heard that, go check that out. That Bulls vs Pistons, and we had Guilty Simpson on there. We had several producers on there as well, and so that just opened up a lot more doors. You know what I mean? And those two records right there opened up a lot of doors for me.
I
definitely want to shout them out.
I was gonna talk to you about Ty Ferris because you have a real good chemistry with Ty Ferris, a real natural back and forth. Yeah, and Ty is somebody who sounds great with everybody, right? Like he's known for doing tracks where he grabs the hardest spitters in the world and throws them on a track, and they all just go nuts. So he fears no one,
Ty Force, and that's the thing. That's what we say. Iron sharpen iron. You know what I mean? And so that was a pleasure. It was an honor to be able for us to have that record. And y'all probably gonna hear some real soon. Y'all probably gonna hear some soon, and we definitely need to do a follow up. So we already in tune, and so at the same time we both elevating. You know what I mean? So it makes sense. You know what I mean? And so definitely. And he doing his thing. Shout out Boz over BS, that label.
Yep.
Respect to Copenhagen, great. Respect to all the artists I've been working with, producers. Absolutely.
And another one, by the way, that I would put on people's radar that is really good, if you're digging into water, right? Let's say you heard the Policy Kings, you really like it. The Honorable with the Standouts.
Man.
Hell of a
yes, sir.
Hell of a record.
So that's I'm glad you brought that up. And I'm glad you brought that up. So now let's get into that. So because of the Bulls vs Pistons record, we had I want to say the second, was it the first? It could have been the first song, or the second song was with the Standouts. They on that album. From that, I was able to build a relationship with the Standouts, and so that's why I wanted to shout them out. Other opportunities happened, and we had the Honorable. Yes, the Honorable. That was one of my favorite albums as well, and we was able to get Squad Deadface to do the artwork on that. He out there doing, I think he in Australia or something, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, that's a big record right there too. We I think I did that one on my own. I don't even know if I had any features on that. I'm not sure. It's a few albums early on where I'm just going in by myself. You know what I'm saying? Because I want, making a name, and before I was able to build certain relationships. So yeah, and right now, me and the Standouts, we just about done for the follow up. We got another one coming soon.
The Standouts, have some incredible work. Nancy Starr with Eddie Kane, they've done a lot of good stuff out there. So I appreciate. Yeah, and so you always get in the room with really good producers. Um, and that's a pretty good deal because a lot of people can't. You know.
Yeah, you know and that's real. And so where, yeah, just where it's a genuine thing. It's not, you know. I don't wanna talk too much because I don't know what other people got going on. But anybody that I'm working with is genuine. You know what I mean? This is a genuine thing. Like we both want to work with each other, and so yeah, for sure. Like I got Sunday Breakfast. I would think that's another record I would suggest check out. With Rashid Hadi, he did that. Rashid Hadi from the west side of Chicago, he got some work with Little Brother. You know, if you're familiar with Little Brother up there in Detroit, he was doing work with Ninth Wonder. So Sunday Breakfast is an album by Rashid Hadi. You know, so yeah, Tone Beats from North Carolina.
Love
Tone Beats is a monster. Yeah, I got 2 albums with Tone. This third one, I'm one of them. I'll be doing about 3 albums at a time, 4 albums at a time. So I just, you know, I feel like there's no need to stop right now. And then, you know, today's game is like there's so much music coming. You in a way, it's a little pressure, not pressure, but it's like it's in the front of my mind that I got to make sure people not forgetting about me. You know what I'm saying? That's the feeling I get. You know? And so and so but yeah, me and Tone Beast, we 10+ records in right now. Wavy to God, we about done. He sent me like he just sent me like 3 more, but we already 16 joints in. You know what I'm saying? And he said about 3 more from me just being out there. It's like, yeah, I need to touch on some of them to add on to this album. We're not gonna have 6, you know, we're gonna chop it down. But so you're gonna hear something from me and Wavy to God coming soon. You're gonna hear something from me and the Standouts to follow up coming soon. Tone Beats. I'm talking about I'm all 10+ in with them as far as songs.
Oh my gosh.
You're gonna be hearing a lot of, you know, most of that gonna come next year. You know, most of it's gonna come next year, but just to give y'all a heads up, you know,
yeah.
Vanderslice I already got a pack from Vanderslice for the follow up for that, for the White Bricks. We probably call it something else, but Clifto, shout out to Clifto out there in California. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm 2 in with him, and we got some work coming. But have you all heard of Work Scorsese?
No.
Yeah, he's new on my radar as well, and I'm one of them though. Like it's like I'm not if you nice, you nice. I'm gonna respect you.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so I got an EP that I did with him. You know, and I'm thinking about that's probably gonna come first. That's what you're gonna most likely hear. It's the next thing that comes. It's already done. It's official. I got a couple features on that. Jay Hayes, Rufus Sims from Chicago. Just linking that up again, and that'll be the next thing.
And I think this is a great opportunity to talk about it, Kay, because there's some people who lock in on their album and they do one album at a time, knock it out, and do the next one, right? And there's some people, like I think, remember when we talked to Vic Spencer? He said something like he's working on albums 3 years in the future. Like,
yeah,
he's already done with this year, next year. He's like working on those. So
they're like corporations in a lot of ways. Like they got their plan.
So there's some people who are like they're moving fast, but they're moving an album at a time. There's some people who are moving slow, moving one album at a time. And I'm hearing you describe doing these 4 or 5 albums at once. And one of the things I was thinking was it must be fun not to be trapped in an album.
Oh yeah. And you know, now I'll say this. There's been moments where I only worked on one album, right? At a time. It's been those moments. I would say now it's because humbly speaking, you know, you might hear my name buzzing a little bit more. So it's like I'm getting a lot more opportunities to work with people now. So, but it was moments where I was doing one album at a time, and that's cool. I liked it as well. But I would say instead of saying trapped in the album, it's like it could be times where, and maybe you can say that to be the same thing too, where you might get a batch of beats, and you might, like I'm the type I could get 10 beats, and I might not like none of them. You know what I'm saying? I might like one of them, and so and I try to listen for what do the audience like as well as myself. Now, if it's something that I could care less what, I feel it so much so that I could care, like kind of like the on the Compendium of Arcanum, what I did with Pharma Beats, number 7 on that joint, that the Tribe of the Soundscape. Like, to me, that beat is so different. It's not the regular beat. If y'all familiar with that record, it's like it's not. Or if you're not familiar with it, now that I'm speaking on it, go check it out. And it's like that's not a regular beat that most people would rap over. But it touched me so much that it was like I could care less what anybody else thought. I'm gonna get down on this. So I had those moments as well. But I like to choose beats that I feel like have replay value. You know what I mean? I want people to play it over and over again.
Yep.
So sticking with what we talking, it's like in regards to an album, if I feel like I don't like this beat, and the producer is taking longer to cook up something new, then absolutely you trapped in that album. You know what I mean? But then when you working on different albums, while that producer, getting his batches right, going in the kitchen, putting new ingredients in there, putting the sauces together, it's like while he doing that, then I do have the opportunity I'm working with other producers, and then my creativity is still there because I'm hearing things that I like, and I get the right to that. And then when I come back over here, now I got this batch, and it's like, okay, yeah, it's go time. So it is. I will agree, man. It's like it is fun working like that. I do like to work like that. Actually.
Yeah, I mean, the first time I thought about this, Kay, I was listening to an interview with one of my favorite comic book writers, Brian Michael Bendis, really important comic book writer, and the interviewer was like, "Oh my God, you're doing like 5 books at once for Marvel. How do you do this?" Right? Like that's so much work. And he was like, "No, like I wake up with an idea, and it could be the Hulk, it could be Luke Cage, right? Like I could wake up, it's cool. I'm gonna knock out the Hulk." Like he's like, I got options. If I was just writing, Luke Cage, I would have to lock in on Luke Cage, and now I got all these different roads that I can go on. Yeah.
Right. And it's like when he said when I woke up that morning. And to me, he's alluding to how he felt that day, what the mood was. And it's like, you might not have the same mood every day. So, you might, then if you're stuck on that one character, then you might not choose to write that day because it's like, you don't have, if you're writing on the Hulk, you might not be feeling the Hulk right now. You might be feeling more David Banner. You might want to, and so absolutely, it gives him that option. That was interesting that you said that. Yeah, man, I agree. I like writing like that. And then you get opportunities like when it's time to close the album. That's when I hone in on that one album. When it's closing, like I'm telling you, I'm 10 plus in with these records. Like right now, I got the EP ready to go. I told you, but out of Wavy, the Standouts and Tone Beats, the one that I'm more focused in on now is Wavy because I got more records with them. Like I said, I got 16 with them, and it's like I got all the features already done, and it's closing time. So the last few beats he got me, it's like, let me focus in on. That's when I go to one album. When I'm in the closing, when I'm closing on, whether I'm Kobe or Mike or one of the great baseball pitchers. I'm not a baseball guy all the way, but I know,
let's
if
go
I'm one of them closers.
Let's go football. Let me give you a football.
Let's go.
Okay?
Yeah.
So Marcus Allen does not have the most yards, but from 10 yards in, he was scoring. He was scoring.
The Marcus. Yeah,
Yep.
hey, for real. No, yeah, hey, no, I'm with. So no, yeah, I'm Marcus Allen. Like right now, I'm on my Marcus Allen shit. It's time to. It's goal. It's time to score. It's time to finish this up and make it all it can be. And that entails whatever skits I want to use. What other transitional beats I want to add to make the album complete. That's what I like to do too. If you visit my albums, I would like to think that I give you a full body of work, a complete body of work, instead of just beats and rhymes. Like you said, with hooks. A lot of where we at in the underground, a lot of people don't really do too many hooks. There's no disrespect to them, because they stay winning. They still winning. You know what I mean? I just that's an element that I like to include in mine.
I mean, it's like I've always told Kay this, from what I learned from the mixtape days, is that the first stage of becoming an MC is establishing that you're dope, right? I can do this. I can do this.
Right.
I can really do this. But it can be a curse because some people never go past that phase.
Right.
Okay? And then go to the next phase.
It's like battle rap.
Yeah. Right. And you go to the next phase. I remember I've talked to people and been like, man, this album is so dope. And it'd be like, this is the album where they became an artist. They went from spitter, artist.
And I think that's what we all should strive to be, artists. We should all strive to be artists instead of just rappers. We should all strive to be artists, because when you're an artist, then you understand the responsibility of an artist. Then you thinking about other things. You know what I mean? And when I say that, I'm sure y'all all heard this already, but me and my lady, we be having these conversations about the rap game, and where it's at. Especially on the female side, and like it was just interesting to me that one like Cardi B, in respect to what she doing, she winning.
Yep.
But it was interesting to me that she said she wouldn't let her daughter hear her music. But it's out here for everybody else's daughter to hear. You know what I'm saying? I thought that was an interesting statement from her.
Yeah, I mean, and I will say, like, being a female rapper who is attractive and known to be attractive, you can shoot up to stardom a little too quickly. You know what I mean? Cardi, my opinion was always, she's not done yet. She's not done yet. Right? Like she's not a 45-year spitter. She was a reality show star, and she released a mixtape. She got better every mixtape. Right. And I think the best verse of her career is that Glorilla song from last year. Like, I think she killed that shit. Like, she's still growing, but people think of her as a super duper star, and she is, but that doesn't mean she's done growing as an artist.
Absolutely not.
It's different.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
It's different. The money is different from the art. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's two different levels.
Right.
But and I want to be clear, this is not me being against battle rappers or ciphers.
Right.
Like, I see that, I get frustrated in those situations because I want you to be a star. I want you to take your talent to the most it can be. And that's why I get excited about people winning. You know what I mean? So I get really excited hearing the Policy Kings, because there's a clear arc upward for you, right? With these albums, you can hear the progression. You're working and you're getting better. So that's unbelievable. That's hard to do. It's not easy.
Thank you. Salute. I appreciate that. that's the goal. That's something me and Spanish Ram was talking about 2 hours out there. It's about, you know, when I do and that's the other thing also about working on multiple albums at the same time, because it's like I'm not settled on what I just did. I want to get I know that the next one can be better.
Right.
You know, it's about sharpening the sword, you know, chiseling the sculpture. And so it's like that one was cool, but this next one is better. You know, and that's the thought process. It's like, you know, the next one. That's I want to, like, I'm not done. I can do better. I can, you know, and like you're saying about the growth and evolving. And so that's what we both was talking about, how you bringing that up, man. And that's how I see it. It's like the next one is better. The next song has to be better than the last song.
And I remember when they interviewed Sonny Rollins when he was like, you know, 88 or something, or you know, really late in life. And I think they expected him to like whimsically talk about his older career. And he was like, best I have ever been is right now.
Yeah.
Right.
Like I'm right now. And he was, you know, he was like, I'm getting better every day. That's what I'm doing. And it was like, fuck did you think he was gonna say? This Sonny Rollins, homie. This fucking the jizz on the saxophone. Get the fuck out of here, bro. Like
let me I had a question. So White Bricks came out almost a year ago. Yeah. Well, no, literally a year ago. Came out the 21st, July 21st. And so you've had 3 projects in the last year. One, do you go back? Do you listen to your old albums? And 2, if you do, what is the growth that you've heard as an artist, like listening to your own albums? Like, what have you heard in terms of your growth in the last year?
Yep.
Good, great question. So yeah, for the first one, I do. There are times where I go back. It's not often. It depends on my work, my plate, in regards to if I'm working on music. You know, if I'm working on like right now, I've been working on some writing new records. So I haven't gone back often, but I do go back and I would check out something. I would check out one album and listen to the whole album, and then that's that, and then I go back and check out another one. Or it might be times where I found myself where I could go and check out different pieces from different albums. I could check out different pieces. Now, in regards to, yes, I have seen development, and then I also see where it's like when times I go back and I be like, yeah, I feel like me personally, it's certain records where I could go back and I be like, yeah, I've been nice, like, you know what I'm saying? And then it's records where I hear it's like, yeah, that was okay, you know, and to where I do, and to me, for me, the development is, and it definitely I've seen me evolve in what you said, then in my hooks, by my choruses. I've definitely evolved over time in that area. That's something that I definitely worked on. Mainly, it's like, and it's like it's certain hooks you might hear me, you know, crooning. You know what I'm saying? Get my croon on. You know what I mean? And even in those, and a lot of times it's like I'm not tapped in with certain singers, and you know, so it's like I got to do it myself. And then it's like, and finding that right octave that work. You know what I mean? I never went to, I didn't have no training for that. You know, and then that's another thing. It's like, you look at ones like a Tupac, excuse me.
Oh.
You look at ones like a Pop, or other artists, or ones like Black Thought, Questlove, where they went to school, music school, and they had certain training. It's like like for me, my training came by ear from listening to the greats and listening and knowing what I like and seeing, oh, okay, I see they rhyming. Okay, like Pac might rhyme, he might only rhyme one word, but Big might rhyme, he rhyming like two words, and then you would hear like a Freeway and how he changed his cadence and that rhyme scheme, and so then I'm learning like, or I can name so many as well as I'm sure you can, like, or like a G rap and where you got Nas pun and just these certain cadences. And so it's like, okay, I see what they do, and then the rhyme scheme of it, and the and how the different ways you can rhyme. So it's like that's I don't want to say I guess you could say I self-taught, but it was like I learned from I had teachers just from listening to how they did their thing, you know what I mean? And so it's like hold on, what was that question again? I kind of got lost on it.
The second question
was the second question. No, I got you about the development. I got you. It came right back to me.
Yeah.
So definitely my hooks, and then I would say how I just the song structure. It's like in a way, it's really no rules to this music shit. You know what I'm saying? It's like at first it's like, yeah, a hook, hook verse or whatnot. 3/16, now it's 2/16, or how it go. Then it's like, then I would hear like Mobb Deep, and they might do some shit where Prodigy rap, Havoc rap. Prodigy rap, Havoc rap, and then they do the hook at the end. Right. You know, just changed everything. So, or it's no hook. It depends on how you really spazzing on the beat. It might not need that. And so it's like just looking at that and approaching it like that and wanting to do audio cinema. You know what I mean? That's what I try to do. You know, like just try to do some cinematic shit through sound, the way you can see it.
Yeah. No, I love that.
And for me, that's why I would say my development would be in answering that question. I feel like my approach in the music, as far as the structure, not being too robotic in that, and at the same time still giving it some type of shape, still shaping it, but not being a robot about it, and that's the cinematography of it. That's why I say I want you to be able to see what I'm hearing. You know, there's times where I remember I'm coming into knowledge and coming into certain information and certain science, and it's like, damn, I want to tell everybody about this shit. So I'm about to put this shit in the music.
Right.
And then it's like, and then in this early on, you know what I'm saying? And then it's like, yeah, that's cool, but people don't necessarily ain't gonna rock out like that. You know what I'm saying? And so then I would think about ones like a Earth, Wind and Fire, like my father put me on to, and what they was on, and like even a Michael Jackson later on after like Michael Jackson after Quincy Jones, and even not to say, trust me, Michael Jackson was winning with Quincy Jones, but it seemed like Michael Jackson after Quincy Jones, he started getting more conscious about things.
Yeah, he learned a lot.
He was putting it in the music. It wasn't just dance party. It wasn't just that anymore. It was like man in the mirror, you know what I'm saying, type of shit. And so, and I'm saying that to say that how can I, instead of being all scientific, and I don't want to lose people, I want them to understand what I'm saying. At the same time, if you don't know what I'm talking about, go look it up. But how can I give you something in the simplest form, you know, but it's still powerful? You know what I'm saying? On some man in the mirror type of shit, or on some Earth, Wind and Fire. They got so many songs where it's more uplifting, and at the same time, you know, like I said, like you said, I'm still gonna talk my shit on some shit, you know, but being a man and being older, it's like, nah, I want to give you something as well. Like like Nas gave me something, like Wu-Tang gave me something, you know?
Well,
Like Pac gave me something.
to jump in, I would say like you would think maybe that's the next level. We talked about the first level is establishing your dope, right? As an MC. Maybe the second level is establishing your environment. So think about it like a restaurant, right? Your favorite restaurant isn't just your favorite restaurant because of the food, right? It's
Right. It's the people.
It's the service. It's the ambiance, right? It's
absolutely.
The vibe. You feel comfortable there. Like your favorite MCs create their own environment and pull you into it.
Right.
So you have to know your sound to know what your environment is. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Absolutely. You absolutely right. And that's what they all did. They pulled you in, you know, to the point where you might have felt like you wanted to talk like them or walk like them or dress like them, you know, or you trusted their word as if what they said was true. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
You know, and so absolutely, you know, and in knowing that and knowing what it did to me, it's like I try to make sure that what I give off is worthwhile for the listener, you know.
Yep.
Most definitely.
I love that. Do you have anything else, Kay, or you want to go
No, man.
Order? Let's do it. Recommendation corner. I would start. This is where we just give what we love, what we're listening to, and I would say we would start. I want to start with Blue Moon 2. Blue dropped a project today. It's absolutely wonderful. It's so good because it's just more of that, like, I don't know, it's a Spanish salsa influenced beat, boom bap, jazz. It's so dope.
So I heard that. Yeah, you ain't that 94 Supreme. That's my favorite one on there. That 91 Hirachis. Like I mean, you know, they going crazy. Man, I don't mean to cut you. I apologize.
No, I'm with you. That's valuable information. No, that project is ill. Kay, the behind me, the background behind me is the cover of Zilla Rocca's new album with Jason Griff, Stacking Chips. And it is dedicated to Scorsese. And Scorsese, Lord Jones, who passed away. And I'm writing the Bandcamp description, and my voice is on the out. I don't want to get too far into it, but like, you know, the audio clips of Scorsese are from interviews I did with him, and it's incredible. It's an emotional experience for me because I miss Scorsese, and I'm so happy that the right people commemorated him. And in commemoration of Scorsese, it's a hard ass album with hard ass beats and rapping, and that's what the fuck Scorsese loved. So that's awesome. What
Peace to Scorsese.
Yeah, I don't know. I was listening to the New Jeans EP. There's like some K-pop New Jeans EP. That was fun as hell. Shout out to Jade Gomez, who was loving that and shouting that out. That was a good change of pace. So I was rocking with that. Sent that to my son. Hey, what are you listening to?
I'm just based on the recommendation. I know someone mentioned it was written by Nas. Last week. So that's the only thing that I went back to this weekend.
That's not bad.
Yeah.
No, it's good. I mean, we were talking last week about the whole there's a whole movement that it was written is better than Illmatic. And you know, I think it started to duly give It Was Written its love because it's a heck of an album. But I don't think it is, but it's, you know, it's great. And what did you think of it when you went back to it, Kay?
I mean, I was kind of like, if you've heard the intro kind of took me aback, but in terms of the lyricism, I mean, it was just night and day.
Yeah.
From what we got, and it made me realize, like, you know, when I think about it, like, you know, rappers are like athletes. I mean, rapping is an athletic feat in a lot of ways.
Yep, we forget that.
And so, you know, like, rappers are not going to be in their prime forever.
I mean, you can extend it. I mean, look. So think about, like, you know, Kevin Durant's playing old man ball, has been for years, right?
Yeah.
Like, he's not. He transitioned. He's shooting over everybody's head. You know.
But there's magic. You know what I mean? But there's magic in that. You know, OKC. And you know that there was like a magic in the OKC version of KD, or the Warriors version of KD. Like, it's not like a static thing. People, but rappers in particular are constantly changing, and evolving in different ways. So that, you know, the point, like, it was interesting to see that version of Nas.
Yeah, you can't get that old thing back. But if you're lucky enough, you can give them a bunch of different things, you know, so you can have stages. Yeah.
Right.
But what are you thinking, Water? What do you have?
Oh, in regards,
recommendations. Yeah. What are you bumping?
Recommendations. And I would agree on Blue Moon. I just tapped in. Like I said, I went up to New York. So I've been creating music, and I haven't really been listening. You know, I know Bub Styles dropped some with Michelangelo.
Oh yeah.
I had tapped into that. You know, it's but I haven't. So to be honest with you, I can't really give a real recommendation. But in regards to that, it was written. It's funny that y'all said that, man. Nas, you know, I think in regards to the night and day, what you were saying in regards to him today versus then, you saying, I would just say, like, it's like, that's that. I think that speaks to the environment, like, you know, and that, you know, how much your environment can affect you. You know what I'm saying? And I think when you around that, it was written was out. You know, he was like, Illmatic had dropped, but. And you know, like, he was signed to a label and shit, so I don't know how much he was really, really eating like that. You know what I'm saying? I'm sure he was feeding the hood, you know, so I don't know. But so it was written, you know, it was like he was winning, but I'm sure he was still in a certain environment that gave you that type of, you know what I'm saying, feeling. And now, you know, Nas, you know, he living like, you know what I'm saying? He a venture capitalist. Yeah, he brunch. Yeah, you know, so it's like, that same, it's like, I'm sure you could never, I would think that as an MC, I would think probably never let certain things go. Like, as an athlete, I still, as a former athlete, I still work out, you know, so I would think there's certain things, you know, like, I'm sure Mike and them still hoop, you know? So it's like, I would think you would never let that go. He just said he's just so great that, because whatever, even he ain't letting it go, people gonna wonder, you might as well profit off of it in some way, you know. But I would I know what you mean, man. I know what you mean. That was a mean record right there.
I think, you know, Kay, I did a series of podcast guest stars with Cam Tandy with Crate 808, right? He's got a Wu-Tang tier of his Patreon where he like goes in depth on Wu-Tang albums, right? And this was a Raekwon thing. And I was telling him, no, I'll be with you for all the Raekwon. Like, I got you. And so we did Cuban Links 2, Shaolin versus Wu-Tang, Fila. The last one we did was The Wild. And one of the things that I realized was like, holy shit, like, Nas is way more Raekwon than he ever was Jay-Z or Biggie. Back in the day, back in that Illmatic, it was written era, he was very Raekwon. Like, they were very on the same page with what they were doing, right?
Yeah.
And right now, he's way more Jay than he is Raekwon.
I got you. I got you.
Good way
Yeah,
to put it,
business wise, yeah, business wise, yeah, absolutely.
Yep.
I would,
It's different.
I can see that. I can see that.
By the way,
And
Ken,
then
go ahead. Go ahead.
no, go. I apologize. Go ahead. Go ahead.
No, I was going different subject. Wrap it up. Wrap up that.
No, I would just say that I think that I wonder if, because if you recall, it was a point where Nas, you didn't really hear about him business wise. You know what I'm saying? And then it was like the beef with Jay and shit. You know what I'm saying? I wonder. And then we had Jay was making moves like being the president of Def Jam, and then start doing other shit business wise. I wonder if that was inspiration or motivation for Nas to be like, besides rap, it's like, hold on, let me step up on this side too. You know what I mean? Just to, instead of just them talking about Jay, I wonder. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I mean, I wonder the opposite of like, I wonder if it was people like Chameleonaire, who was like, he was like, man, that's quiet money. Like, no one's even knows this dude. He's making quiet money out here. Like,
Yeah,
I want to make some quiet money.
yeah,
and maybe that was it. But Kay, I was gonna say, I kind of went a little bit viral.
Okay.
It was like a day or two ago. I just like in the mornings posted a tweet like, hey, what do you think is the best album cover of indie hip hop the last 10 years? I'll start. And I posted Brick Body Kids Still Daydream by Open Mike Eagle.
Mm-hmm.
And it's at like 62,000 views at this point.
Oh, wow.
It's fucking nuts. I was just like, what is going on? My phone is going off. I'm just like, damn. Yeah.
Wow.
Gained like 50.
I think I've seen that too. I'm sorry. What was this on Twitter or IG?
Yeah, Twitter. Yeah.
It's Twitter. Yeah. I think I saw that. I definitely saw that.
I gained like 15 followers in 2 days or some shit. I was like, this is crazy, bro. Like, you never know what the fuck is gonna happen on Twitter, bro. It's wild.
Right.
That's
right. What garners people attention? What know, I feel you.
One of the most fun moments, somebody responded and said, oh, we need to do the worst album covers of the last 10 years. And I'm like, no, because it's really hard to make a bad album cover. That's not important. Like, it's hard to do good album cover, so let's salute the good album covers. Like, let's reorient that conversation. Like, bad art is easy to make.
Right.
That's why we don't focus on it. It's too easy. But thank you so much. It's been a long time coming. We talked earlier this year to sketch 185 of Tomorrow Kings, and I was like, you got to hear Water. I was repping you. So people don't realize, man, behind the scenes, I am loud for everybody, and I'll always do that.
Thank you.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Man. I appreciate that to both of y'all. Thank you.
Absolutely. We that's it. I think last thing, Jaylen Brown, get that paper.